You've heard a lot about Plymouth over the last 2 days from Debbie, Richard, and we had just heard some from Paul. I'm going to talk about, it's a very small part of Plymouth that I actually live in. It's my area. So I'm going to talk about Barne Barton. It's quite a small area, and it can feel very, very disconnected from the rest of St Budo, as the main area in and out is over a tiny little humpback bridge. So it's like a little island on its own, but it is classed as a deprived area. It's very, it's ex-housing stock, which used to be owned by the MOD, and it's all owned by social landlords. So there's a lot of universal credit, low-income families, and basically the dregs are put up there. It used to have a horrendous reputation. It's got better over the years, but I've actually lived on the estate for over 40 years. So, it's, for all it might not be amazing, and it's got, it's my area. But when asked, a lot of people, sorry, bit closer, sorry, is that better? Yeah, when asked, a lot of people don't actually admit they live on the Barne Barton estate. They say they live in St Budo, because there's such a stigma surrounding the estate, people just won't admit they live there. But, the actual estate lives in the shadow of a giant incinerator that was forced on us. It was placed on MOD land, and people just didn't have a choice. So this is basically what we were promised, the artist impression of what the incinerator would look like. We were told we would have £390,000 worth of landscaping to, as they put it in their little write-up, mitigate the impact of the building. And the reality of what we got was, that's the landscaping, lots of lovely brambles. That is how close the incinerator is to the nearest building that is full of families, young children, and as you can see, it's not very visible, but it chops up all the light to the people living in those properties. And, I'm going to say, but, what we were promised was the artist impression. What we got was, an eyesore. Just an eyesore, bilging out, foul-smelling smoke, 24 hours a day. We've got quotes from, the NHS, the health impact, when they were putting all the plans through, saying it's got the potential to negatively impact on the area. Local councillors saying, basically that they've inflicted it on us, that we've had no choice as to where it was put. I've got a raft of quotes. The actual managing director of the incinerator company saying that there are no negative impacts on the health of the area, but living under a 80-foot chimney, bilging out smoke 24 hours a day, cannot be doing any good to the children of the area, ignoring the adults. Right, where are we? Yes, sorry. Right. Now, most of the residents of Barne Barton live on benefits of some kind. And with the new welfare reforms, and everything, most of them are below the breadline. They are below the breadline. You have, as it's been well documented over the last, months, the waiting times people are waiting for their universal credit claims to be sorted. You know, there's, you know, you've got the bedroom tax, benefit caps. You know, it all has a knock-on effect to the area of mental health problems have increased in the area because people just have no money. They've got young children. You know, it's just got absolutely horrendous. We've got the new work capability assessments. They have got so much more intense, and I don't know, you know, if there's quotas of people they have to get back to work, but a lot more people on the area have been speaking to me saying, you know, that their medical has been disallowed. They've been saying they're fit for work. You know, I mean, I actually have personal experience of people being told they are fit for work with my husband. He is severely depressed. He's totally blind in one eye, practically blind in the other eye. He has heart problems, has had major heart surgeries, and a few months ago they declared him fit for work. We went to the medical assessments, and they've gone through their range of questions, and they've asked my husband, have you ever in the past or now, have you thought about harming yourself, or have you attempted to harm yourself? When he has said, I have in the past, but not recently, they have used that to penalise him and say, you are fit to return to work. You know, I mean, you've got your GPs telling you that you are unfit for work, but you go to see a medical practitioner on behalf of the DWP who sees you for half an hour if you're lucky. They take a form and ask you questions about physical problems and say you're fit. I mean, I don't know if they have mental health training, but I feel that if you go in with a physical problem, they can see your physical problem and assess you. How can they assess a mental health problem if they have no specific training in mental health? It just seems like you're fighting a losing battle sometimes. And the people who have mental health problems get themselves so wound up when they have to go to these appointments, and then they're told you are fit for work, which just exacerbates everything. It just gets worse and worse and worse. I mean, but due to them saying he's fit for work, we have now we're on universal credit. They have declared him fit for work, and bear with me, this is our monthly for myself and my husband to run a house, eat, do everything that a couple does. That is our income per month, and that is our outgoings, and the little amount at the bottom is what we are left to live on per week. We were left with £14.12 per week to buy food and any other incidentals that have to be paid. I mean, you can see on there it says internet, you know, the amount for the internet. It is part of your job seekers allowance agreement on universal credit. You have to have internet access. Everything is done online. You cannot do anything if you are not online. So that is an essential bill, because if you don't have that, you cannot claim. And if you cannot claim, you have no money. So, but yeah, that is what we actually receive. And on a regular basis, we have to make a choice between, do we pay our bills or do we eat? That is no way in today's society, for people to have to live. I mean, that is just my own personal amounts. But you know, I know people that are worse off than we are. People with children that are worse off, having to choose between do they eat and do they feed their children, or do they pay their bills and do they pay their rent? It's, you know, it's, our small area has a bus service, which is quite a regular bus service, but we have no GP surgery, no dentist, no chemist. If you need to use any of those services, you have to either have a 30-minute walk or 2 bus journeys. So, you know, you have no choice. You are, you know, it's, just have my 5-minute warning, I think, haven't I? Yeah. But our local shopping area it's 1 street long, and we have 12 takeaways. On just that one little street, 12 takeaways. So it's, you know, it's been well documented, the obesity problem, and yet the local planning officers allow 12 takeaways on 1 small street. So no wonder people get obese, because it's cheaper and easier to just go to a takeaway and buy a takeaway than go to a shop and source your ingredients, which cost twice as much. But I'm going to say, we'll go to the next one, Suzanne. We'll just flip up. It may all sound doom and gloom. It's far from it. It's far from it. We do have an amazing community. I personally volunteer at the local community centre in St Budo. We have some amazing people that come in there. The centre runs a group for seniors called Square Club. We have monthly meal days. Every week there's an event running for them. They have, these are from our actual Christmas party that we had, was it last year, the year before? Yeah, it was the year before, sorry. This actual lady here, she's 99 years old. She still does her own shopping every single week, and she only gave up running her own seniors club 2 years ago. We have some real amazing people, you know, coming to the centre, and they, you know, but I could talk all day about Square Club. I could talk all day about Square Club. There are so many stories. So if anyone's interested, just find me, and I'll more than happily talk your ear off about it. But the thing is, it all sounds really, really bleak. But you know, because of austerity today, you know, the people in Barne Barton may be living on the breadline. We may have a lack of services. We are inundated with takeaways. But what we do have is we have a community spirit and, you know, a togetherness that no austerity, no policies will ever take away. Thank you very much.